Episode 492 of the TV Dudes, recorded June 20th, 2024. The Boys Season 4. This week, we're talking about the return of everybody's favorite anti-superhero show, The Boys, which returned for its fourth season over at Amazon Prime.
Yeah, that's right. After the amazing success of Gen V, I've been excited to see what the original generation cast has for us on the main series.
But before we talk about all that,
I'm Nick.
And I'm Les. And we're the TV Dudes.
This week, we managed to get in a bit of TV watching.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
What did you check out, Les?
Well, this week I kept up my rewatch of Suits, which I think I'm somewhere in the early third season now. It's that kind of background show. There's 20 jillion episodes per season. They're all fun.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, after watching the premiere of The Boys, which we'll talk about in a moment, you went back through and watched all of The Boys. I caught maybe a third of it, but damn, that show's fun on rewatch, as is Gen V.
Watched some of that too.
Yeah.
I also watched some of the Boys Diabolic. Which is the animated
yeah,
one.
those are fun.
Mm-hmm.
I always forget those exist. It's like Little Kenny. Watched the Bratz documentary, where Andrew McCarthy of the Brat Pack, although he hates being known like that, but that's definitely how he's known. Basically gets together interviews with all of the Brat Pack, which that is entirely a magazine created term. Like anytime you hear any Seattle grunge musicians asked now about the grunge movement, and they're like, we don't know what that is, that got applied to us. I'm not even from Seattle, like that kind of shit. And that's kind of how, like, the Brat Pack just was a Hollywood Reporter article that was supposed to be about Emilio Estevez, and it kind of ended up expanding into like Rob Lowe and all of them, because Estevez was going out to dinner with them all.
Mm-hmm.
That moment in time apparently is like the only time they all hung out. Like, there's no Brat Pack. Like, they know each other because they went through this at the same time, but like, they're not buddies. So like, McCarthy has to kind of put together the phone numbers and shit to like call these people, and they're all like, hey, Andrew. No, okay, we could talk about that. Basically, it's a documentary where you realize that everyone else called the Brat Pack has been to therapy about this, except Andrew McCarthy. And like, he views it as like the worst thing that's ever happened to him, it seems like.
Well, if you started with Emilio Estevez, Young Guns is right there.
Right.
Like, why do we call him Young Guns?
Right. And like, Estevez is like, yeah, it's like, and weirdly, people don't count Young Guns as a Brat Pack movie the way they count St. Elmo's Fire or one of those. Yeah, which is weird. Like, right after watching that documentary, it's hilarious, basically, that like all of them are like, no, I mean, I get it. It felt like we were 20 and I had a chip on my shoulder about not deserving the sudden fame we had. And so, yeah, it hurt. But also, when they talked to the producer of all these movies, Laura Donner, she's like, yeah, it made you immediately marketable. It was a godsend. It's the greatest thing that ever happened. I don't know what you're talking about. And like, she's basically the only one that talks like that until Rob Lowe just parachutes into this documentary.
Oh, wow.
After like a couple of times trying to hook up and see Rob, like, and talk to Rob Lowe, because he's crazy busy still. And he comes in and everybody else is like, oh yeah, it was a hard time. It was a tough
Rob Lowe's
like, hey, you remember how awesome it was in the 80s? Man, we were the best. Like, Rob Lowe's just so happy to be Rob Lowe. It's fucking hilarious.
That makes sense. And wouldn't you be happy to be Rob Lowe?
Oh my God, absolutely. He looks like he beat the devil at a deal. Like, I don't know what Rob Lowe did.
Gotcha.
It's fantastic.
You did not know, but his fiddling skills.
Right.
Crazy good.
Crazy good. He's got a gold fiddle and a painting that's just getting older. So I watched that. After that, we tried to watch St. Elmo's Fire. Fuck, that's a terrible movie. Oh my Lord. It is. Just watch the John Parr music video for it, where they're all in character for some reason, and John Parr just sings each line of the song to one of them. The videos were better than the whole movie. So we abandoned that about 30 minutes in, and instead watched Weird Science.
Sure.
it is as bad as you remember. And like, if you're thinking of like, oh, that's an awkward sex joke you couldn't make now, there are 15 you are forgetting.
Well, I'm thinking of like,
it made me want to read a biography of John Hughes to know what was going on in his life the year he wrote and directed this.
Real Genius didn't hold up as much as I wanted it to when I revisited that. Right. And so Weird Science was like, I'm going to leave that alone.
No, because like Real Genius feels at least like sweet to nerds or something. And like no, this is so we're going to discuss The Boys a little bit later. There's a reveal in episode 4 that one of the characters, while a camp counselor at 23 years old, messed around with a 15-year-old. That is exactly the age gap that they explicitly state in this movie between Kelly LeBrock and these boys. They are 15 in this movie canonically.
Yeah, but back then, it was just awesome.
It's just like slightly awkward in the movie of like mostly because like they won't go through with it. Like there is a pointed line where like there's a scene where it feels like Wyatt, like one of them just slept with her overnight and wakes up like with his world rocked, but it's not. There's an explicit line where she says, and you passed out 3 minutes into me doing a gymnastics routine. I mean, it was like, we got to work on that. And so like and I feel like that was a note where somebody came in and were like, hey, so we'll greenlight the movie, but she can't fuck him in act 1.
Man, there's a Boston Legal episode where Alan Shore tells the story of how he lost his virginity to Denny Crane. And it was his,
phrasing.
He tells the story to Denny Crane.
I was like, man, I kind of want to hear that story.
But also, like, they are like he loses his virginity to his neighbor. That's just basically sees him mowing the lawn or whatever, and then tells the whole story to Denny Crane. And he's like, that's amazing. What a great red belly tale. And he just goes, no, Denny, I was 15. It was statutory rape. Like. That is not a good story.
It's the bust down pilot.
Man,
you were molested. Stop telling this story.
So like that's when I'm like 2006, I think is that episode, and I'm like at that point I'm like, yeah. So that's the point where everyone decided like, yep, it's still bad. Like no matter what the gender flip of it, no matter what, it's bad.
I feel like that's around I think that's a rip from the headlines. I think that's around when that teacher got busted.
Yeah,
and it, like the country discovered that a huge portion of the nation was like, that kid's awesome. Like,
yeah.
No, man, that kid's gonna have to go talk to somebody. It's gonna mess up future relationships for him.
Yeah, like
it's gonna be weird. So yeah, Weird Science was awkward.
Sure.
Also watched the John Oliver recent episode on a second Trump presidency and whatever Project 2025, and like.
Yeah.
Basically, the same way the Federalist Society kind of roadmapped, hey, here's what to do with low-level judges to remake the justice system, and like it's one of the most effective things Trump did in his first term was just pack the fucking bench. They have basically a similar plan for legislative changes that would allow the executive office to just run roughshod. The scariest of which is converting a huge number of like hired political, I mean, not political, like just government workers, like the weather service.
Yeah.
And making them political appointees so that you serve at the pleasure of the president, which means you're an at-will employee and can be fired for any reason.
Yeah.
So that's just going to like the weather service will like things like that will now be like political. So like that sounds boring.
So they will literally... so they're gonna literally be able to piss on us and tell us it's raining.
Exactly. Exactly. That would be the official position. Like, and that sounds stupid and goofy and like, well, but like this is the kind of boring crap that changes. So it was a horrifying episode of television. It's the newest John Oliver episode. It's also on YouTube, I'm sure. That clip or that segment of it at least.
Well, I was listening to a podcast of like, what would we do for a second Trump presidency? And I almost don't want to like, hey, can we not already admit defeat?
Nope. But he came out of slightly leading Biden in a poll this week. So like if you're sitting at home and thinking of like, well, it's not going to be that big a deal. I don't really like Biden that much, or I don't really like either one of them. I don't care. Like, how did John Oliver put it? Well, we all came through we all made it through the first Trump presidency. Like, cool. We didn't all make it through.
Yeah, not all of us. In fact, quite a significant portion of a 1 in 10 was, I think, the visual survival rate of a certain period.
Yeah,
didn't quite make it.
It's please, at least if you're thinking of voting Trump, just please stay home. I don't give a shit if this makes you stop listening to this podcast. I'm sorry if my political views bug you. This can't come as a shock.
Well,
please don't vote for Trump. Just stay home.
Well, honestly, we can't. Disasters don't
come out and vote for Biden.
Please,
it's at least gonna what's the worst case scenario with Biden? He's gonna leave the country basically the way it's always been.
Yeah, and disasters don't care about political. Like it sucks that our disasters have timed out with Republican presidents,
right?
Or it not
but I don't want to run into the next thing with this dude in charge.
People in charge.
No, he seems. Yeah. Anyway.
My God.
So yeah, I don't watch a lot of John Oliver because it's usually shocking and scary, or at least depressing. The Trump second term one lining out no, this isn't necessarily fantasy. There's a real plan, and there's a group of very sober-minded people who are ready to get this done. And as I remember the W presidency, the executive does not have to be the sharpest tool in the shed for somebody right behind him to push through a decade-old agenda.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would encourage anybody just to go watch it. It's great. John Oliver. In better news, I rewatched Ricky Stenicki, which might, I realize, undercut my credibility on all previous things I've said, but found that to be just as stupid and hilarious as the second time. It's fucking funny.
John Cena is shown that he should do more comedies. He's very funny.
Yeah, his shtick is I'm not saying it's the broadest skill set.
I'm
in the world,
gonna be real mad if James Gunn's attention is diverted so that we don't get a Peacemaker season 2, or if it just we do and it ends up Harley Quinning out.
Right. Also watched Lisa and I watched through a couple of Leaving Soon on Netflix, classic 80s, classicer movies that we hadn't seen.
That's a good thing that they've started to do. That
right.
Leaving
I wish they'd
Soon,
make it a whole category, but it's at least a flag now.
Yeah, hey, this is about to drop from us, and see a uptick on things that you've been having on your queue.
Dude, because all of a sudden sea of movies, all right, well, there's at least a reason to get that one. So we watched A Passage to India, based on the Ian Forster novel. It's one of the classic novels you may or may not have had to read. It's off the AP list in high school kind of shit.
Sure.
And so I realized that so I've shown you Stiff Upper Lips, the Merchant Ivory Send Up movie. I realized a huge chunk of that is mocking this movie, which was kind of fun. Judy Davis is this woman who goes to India and is just kind of overwhelmed by India, and goes into a cave, hears a echo that freaks her out, can't deal with her sexuality, and from what I'm understanding from the movie, then accuses an Indian doctor of sexual assault, which gets him put on trial, and then on the witness stand at the trial, she recants or recants,
right,
and he is freed.
That's it.
Yes, it takes 2 hours and 45 minutes to tell that story. And while the shots of India are great, there was a moment in the third act where Lisa was so we watched 2 minutes of mountains just then, just mountains on screen.
Well, I mean, we have to let this sit so that a white person can fix their mistake in India.
It's a little infuriating. I mean, it is. I'm not saying it's not a beautiful slow movie, but the way. So earlier this week, this is going to sound insane on a segue. You were flipping through 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s teen sex comedy type shit. Gas Station Girls or whatever, and you were
Gas Pump Girls.
You were okay, so prior to the 80s, there's no whether you think these movies are funny or not, there's genuinely not jokes in. They weren't bothering to put jokes in them prior to the late 70s, early 80s.
And not that the 80s ones were good, but they're putting jokes.
But they're at least trying to throw it's not a throw it at the wall and see what sticks. They weren't throwing anything at the wall. It's just titties. And that's because there was no other. Where else did you see titties? Somebody had to bring a projector and an actual stag.
Are you gonna
film.
pump my gas, sweetie?
Right.
And I'm like, dude, this isn't a porn.
In the same way, I was watching this movie and was like, man, is this what we shot when it was this or National Geographic, but you just couldn't see other places? Now I with every Windows background screensaver having the craziest mountain view shot ever or whatever, most gorgeous vista ever. I'm watching this going, so the 3 minutes of just panoramic scene that this movie keeps dropping constantly to make it 2 hours and 45 minutes. Is this just because there wasn't any in the theater in 1980? Was this the only way to see like a cool looking image this bit. Like, was this more impactful? Because man, y'all are spending an hour of this. I swear to God, an hour of this movie.
Yeah.
But 30 minutes of this movie are Alec Guinness in brownface. And I'm burying the lead on that, man. Because he's Alec Guinness, like he's still pretty remarkable in the role.
I mean, it's better than John Wayne as Genghis Khan.
Oh, good Lord, yes. It's much better than all of that.
Or Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Charlton Heston as El Cid. Yeah. Oh God, it's much better than Misc Go Right. Yeah. No, not good. Not good at all. But yeah, man. We hit play on it like, oh, cool, Alec Guinness. Oh Lord, that's Alec Guinness. So yeah, then we watched The Long Good Friday, which is a British gangster movie that I guarantee Guy Ritchie had playing on a loop prior to making Snatch. It's got a very young Pierce Brosnan, like so young we had to look him up. Of like, that dude is pretty in a Pierce Brosnan way. Who is that? And like, yeah, it's Pierce Brosnan.
Mm-hmm.
He plays Irishman #1. So Bob Hoskins and an incredibly young Helen Mirren, 20-something-year-old Helen Mirren.
Hell yeah.
Who, oh my God, she just looks fantastic.
Now that's a cast.
Jesus Christ. Hoskins is a London gangster who is about to be a huge part of getting the Olympics in London, like the Olympic Village built. And so like it's about to be like a huge game change of his empire. And it's Good Friday. He's just come back from a trip of trying to arrange this. He's got some like people coming in, like he's wanting to make a deal with the American mafia to get this done. And he's got some Americans coming in at the start of Friday. Somebody tries to car bomb his mom. They stab his like third in command. Like another car bomb fails. They blow. Another guy is killed. Like he spends the entire day trying to figure out. He doesn't know who's even doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a bizarrely like cool yet insanely slow movie.
Yeah,
because I'm talking for 2 acts, he does not know what's going on.
British crime movies weren't fast until Guy Ritchie took coke for the first time.
Right. No,
like,
that's what this feels like. But when it comes together in the third act, the way it ends feels so Snatch. Like it's not like he ripped the plot off, or just in the level of gotcha moment is as good as Mickey not pulling a face.
Yeah, you see when you get your life flashes before your eyes, that really doesn't happen, but you do pull a face. Like the reason the pikey isn't pulling a fucking face.
Because it was the Long Good Friday. It's on Max right now. It's slow. It's a slow burn. But it was definitely cool. And then, of course, we watched My Adventures with Superman, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Well, what else did you watch?
I actually finished off the last episode of Invincible. I thought I finished it. I don't know why, but like that second season, I think I was on here before talking about it, and like, oh, okay, it's officially better than like the first season as far as, you know, how much we really didn't care for the first season. And having watched the second season now, I'm like, yeah, it's still a mess. It has more going for it now as far as consistent writing on some of the other subplots and characters. The turn they're pulling for Nolan is actually a lot more effective than I thought it would be. Of someone kind of like Angelus or Buffy, or on Buffy, the giving someone having someone finally feel empathy for the first time when they didn't before, and like, oh, but they're also a war criminal, like an intergalactic war.
They're gonna have to
criminal.
go off in the wilderness for a minute and like feel all this.
Jesus, like oh my God, Jesus Christ! I also love that Viltrumites have to be fully healed up and at 100% physical health to kill them. Like to execute them, they have to wait until he's fully recovered from the last fight he was involved in. Like, because no, that would be disrespectful and not honorable to kill a Viltrumite when he's weak. And like, what? Like, just how much they revere their own race.
And they're a race that also reveres strength.
Yeah, and also
like without strength is your greatest honor.
Yeah. And again, they haven't revealed this yet. I should probably, if they haven't revealed in the cartoon, I shouldn't have revealed it now since it's a spoiler. But like, their reason for not killing Viltrumites is.
Are we protecting Invincible as a series?
Yeah, I guess for people that care.
I feel like I'm outright attacked.
And a lot of people do. But the reason they're not killing Mark and not killing a lot of, like, why they're so reticent to kill Viltrumites is more complex and interesting than one might think. And like, but Mark is still written awful, just terrible. Like I can't. When people talk about Invincible and how it's like a new Spider-Man or Superman, or like watching that new, getting the feeling of a new hero rising, I'm like, man, are you watching the same show as me? Mark sucks.
No,
Mark is stupid, and not in a like noble way, but in an impractical, weird way.
It sounds like at best it's gotten up to a like the How I Met Your Mother classic trope of like your center character is usually the lamest.
Well, they have a whole moment, like I was telling you, with Angstrom,
Angstrom Levy,
the meshed around guy that's now all of his like a bunch of his different versions are meshed into one dude now.
All Kangs combined.
And because Mark is bad in almost every universe except for this one, he's confused about it. And it was, so instead of doing the War of Invincibles like they do in the comic, they show flashes of him getting what Invincibles throughout the multiverse have done to him. So they get the War of Invincibles without actually doing it, because it wouldn't make sense in this context.
Right.
With Angstrom saving him. And Invincible even points out, dude, you saved me though. The first time we met, you saved me. And he's like, I would never do that.
That's an outlier.
And and Angstrom's like, I would never do that. And he has to go back. Like there's one Angstrom in there that is like, no, but this Invincible has not done anything to us.
Right.
And
but you're averaging it together.
So it kind of puts it puts, like you said, it's an interesting, he has an average knowledge now because the machine didn't quite work because he fucked it up. He has an average knowledge that everything he does is kind of wrong. Like it's not, everything is a little bit fucked up and not quite right. And you know, Mark, he transports Mark to a portal with like dinosaurs that are talking. And when they realize he can talk, they're kind of like, oh, should we eat him then? Oh, damn it. I don't know. I kind of feel bad about it. One of them's like, nah, I'm good with it. Like,
okay, that's pretty great.
But all the other portals are just different apocalypses. And it's kind of not as interesting as one. Like, man, how is that not someone's entire day of like,
right? Even
Multiverse of Madness, when they went through like at least one where he was paint in like,
right.
There was a crazy ones where, but
or all the Spider-Verses.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess that's what I'm pissed is Invincible is now.
No, there was an opportunity to do like the Lego frame rate change.
Had they done Invincible in the late 2000s, like when it first came out, I mean, they wouldn't have been able to do all of it because it had not finished yet. But it would have been revolutionary then. But now I've seen a bunch of shit do what it's doing.
Like
better than it did.
How would you resist the urge to at least have them all be into like him bust into one that looks animated from the early aughts, and animated from the 90s, and then animated from the 80s.
They try and do from the comics where he goes into the Spider-Man for a minute. They don't have the rights to Spider-Man, so it's just it's a dude that looks like a Spider-Man and a dude that looks like Doc Ock, but they have different costumes, and it's the voice from Spectacular Spider-Man, the guy doing it.
Okay,
so it's like, okay, this doesn't really mean anything because it's not actually Spider-Man, but I get what you're trying to do here, even though this is a half-daff. It's like everything Invincible. It's trying to get to where it was in the comic, but it's a half-assed weird version of it. And because that doesn't mean as much. And then what they do is he goes to Batman's universe and just off screen's like, so you're dressed like a bat and your name is, well, I mean, it just seems like a lack of originality. And he slips off and like, it just doesn't mean anything anymore.
Right.
You know, it meant something when I thought Invincible was the new Spider-Man when he went into the Spider-Man's universe. But now that that's not Spider-Man, it doesn't really.
It's just another Invincible character.
Well, Invincible could just have a character like that.
Exactly.
If it's not just another.
Right.
So if he doesn't have to go to another, it's dumb. But also Angstrom Levy has a fight with him and he's like, he advanced his body so he can take some hits now. And Invincible's like, no, you don't realize how much I've been holding back. And I wanted to just stop the presses right there. I'm like, nope, you have not been holding back in any fight. You've lost every fight because you've tried your hardest and you're weak. They've been pretty clear about it, how weaker you are than every other Viltrumite and Battle Beast or anything that's better at fighting than you.
Like, that's a fun Superman line. but it doesn't work for you.
And it's like it's the same way. I'm like, I've seen that episode of Justice League Unlimited as well.
I finally get to stop holding back. It's great.
Like, I live in a world of cardboard. I also like that line, Kirkman or whoever's in charge here.
But like,
but it doesn't actually work here with the thing you've set up. I don't know. For me, I'm in it for Alan the Alien. I think what they're doing with Alan the Alien with Seth Rogen is actually really great. I really like
even
Alan.
In season 1, that was the only thing that was.
He has a whole episode in the second season to himself, and it's really good.
Yeah, that's great.
It's pretty great.
He was like the one highlight in season 1 for me.
No, he's
was that moment.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And Rex, they actually give Rex a thing. Like Rex's last episode, where he like has to get his confidence back after just taking a loss from the Serpent League. How they handle Duplicate and Shrinking Ray with them getting killed is actually better than I thought, because they actually survive those fights. They don't actually get killed. They just get really hurt. And but to show the consequences of super fighting without it being so goddamn depressing. I also watched, speaking of, messes, I watched The Acolyte,
which I've not watched any of. That's unsurprising.
I can't really tell. Like, there's a bunch of discourse on it right now about like how terrible it is, or how like
I can't tell from the online banter whether it's good or bad.
And it's it's definitely like, it's not lost on me that like the critics are right. A white dude doesn't have a line until like Ep 2, and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't really notice that.
It's not a deal breaker of a show. I mean,
like one of them is just a goddamn walking carpet as a Jedi, and I thought that was pretty cool. But it hasn't shit the bed in anything, because it's reticent to bring lore of the Star Wars universe in, since it's all original characters. It's no one you've heard before. It's never one you've seen before, and I think that's a good
thing.
I think that's a great move.
Yeah, we've been asking for years to just not have a Skywalker on screen all the
time. But it also comes with a negative in the fact that I'm not really connected to any of these people, so I don't really know them, and this big mystery they're trying to peddle doesn't seem like much of a mystery to me. Like, if your big reveal is that the Jedi aren't very good, I'm gonna be like, it's just all right.
I mean, they bought a kid off a junk dealer.
Jason Mendoza as helping out our Sith character, though, is pretty great.
Yeah, man, I heard. So, like, speaking of Rexplode, oh no, sorry, that's
Jason Mantzoukas.
Yeah, Mantzoukas. No, Mendoza.
Mendoza
yes.
is
so Blake Bortles. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like my buddy Donkey Darth.
I just want to see him constantly pull a liquor bottle with a kyber crystal in it. Of like, what the hell is that?
See,
Bortles!
Every time I throw a thermal detonator a problem, I immediately have a new problem. Just like, I can't believe I haven't seen memes going around.
Yeah. I mean, there should be a million of these. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched.
Oh man, growing up in Florida, they shot a bunch of womp rats.
Absolutely, I watched some more Delicious in Dungeon. I actually watched the rest of the season 1, and a little bit into season 2. Really dug the continuity we kind of missed, as far as the other group of adventurers aren't dead. They come back around and get knocked out again. Like, they've met our crew twice now, but they were not conscious either time, which I thought is really funny. And they think they've stolen their gear, their money from before, because they took all the mimic treasure. And like, hey, where's all our treasure? Because they got all knocked out before they
wake up and all that gold's gone.
All that gold's gone. They think they've been robbed.
You weren't robbed. Those were insects.
No, you idiots. You're just really bad at this. There's the living portrait episode where they go into living portraits and try and eat.
So that's where where that dark elf turns up before, right?
Yeah, it's because those portraits are actually the history of the kingdom that became the dungeon. So like, they find the wizard in there, and like, the wizard is like, hey, I fucking know you from years ago when the king was born, because he keeps jumping into pictures, jumping in time. Like, who are you? What do you want?
One of the ones that I saw a little bit of while you were watching, it looked like we were probably right about making the sister's body out of dragon meat not being a great idea.
Yeah, well, it opens up the her for a like possession thing from the wizard. Yeah. So, but she also is not fully dragon meat, so she becomes like this dragon chicken thing that is fucking weird.
That's what I saw. Like her body hanging off the top of a giant dragon chicken thing.
You're like, oh man, why does blood magic have such a bad rep? And I just kind of want to go like this, probably
stuff like this, man.
The dragon chicken part of it, probably. I don't know. Like, it feels like, hey, when we revived people the other way, did they ever turn into dragon chickens? I feel like they haven't.
No. Well, so then maybe so we're gonna put that over here on a column we're calling good magic. And we're gonna put the sometimes dragon chickens into.
I'm gonna just say healing magic maybe shouldn't hurt as well. Like I'm just
like, why does this leg still itch? It's been a day.
Oh,
that just means it's working good.
Speaking on Acolyte, they just revealed that the twins or whatever are from the witches, those witch people from the Clone Wars, the ones that use the Force that are actually straight up magic.
Okay.
And they're like, we're sick of being persecuted by the Jedi, and like they're all about like who can say who wields the Force, and I'm like, yeah, no, I get that. And the Jedi kind of suck for that, of deciding who can and can't wield the Force. But also, you guys, you wield green fire. That's Maleficent shit. Like, why does your stuff look evil? Right. Like, rebrand, man. Like, it's just
right. Like, if you're Force lightning, like we already know that there are certain powers that come out of hate and certain powers that don't. Like, man, your shit looks hateful.
You can't take our children from us to join your cult. We already called them for our cult.
Right.
I don't think the morality there is but yeah, I watched Inside Man with Tucci, Stanley Tucci,
and
Tenet, David Tennant. Yeah, that one could have its own.
Man, the trailer looked great.
That one could have its own separate episode.
You told me about it sounded just stabbed me in the eye.
Kind of like when I was talking about Eric last week, as far as not delivering on the premise.
Like Eric, yeah.
The Death Row Detective part of it, the thing it sells itself on, is actually like, I want to say 30% of the show. Most of it is David Tennant dealing with through a wacky set of coincidences, having to keep a woman in his basement to help protect his son from a terrible like secret getting out that actually his son wasn't responsible for. It's a guy at the church that is like a pedophile,
but a massive misunderstanding.
Like, but it's like 3 or 4 different misunderstandings down the line, and it's almost impossible to explain now. So it's him trying to figure that out, and like Stanley Tucci is working that case at the same time, but we show him work 2 other cases, but neither of them are very interesting, and that's supposed to be the point, is that he can solve them immediately because he can see what's not there rather than seeing what's there.
Okay.
And I do like one where he just one guy accepts an award for comedy or whatever, and disappears that night. And he's like, okay, so no one saw him in a tuxedo crossing the street at that train station, but an opera house releases that same time, so no one noticed him because there was a bunch of people in tuxes. And it takes the journalist so long to catch up to what he's saying. 5 minutes, and I've already said, oh, the orchestra? Okay, so the band comes out, and he blends in with the band. 5 minutes later, and so the orchestra blends in. Like, yes, I get it. Holy fuck, get on with the next part of the story. And he shows the woman a picture of a bloody award speech, the wife, because he's like, he probably just took his train home. He shows the wife a picture of a bloody award thing, and she fucking runs off. And like, what? How did you find the body or the thing? Oh no, they've stayed the same for 50 years. I just took one, covered it with blood, and made it look like we
found
unmurdered it. Found the murder weapon. Did she run? Yeah, she did it. That's how easy that was.
Right.
And so the rest of it is dealing with David Tennant the acting is very good. Like, they're all really good actors. The chick from the nun from Dracula is there as the woman in the basement. It's all like, and it has its moments, but really, like, it does not deliver on the Death Row Detective thing. And they kind of like beg for a season 2, which is a weird, like, dude, you didn't even give me the season 1 you promised, you motherfucker. And now you want me to like go around a whole other time? I don't know. I was not impressed. But anyway, should we move on to my adventures?
Sure. One thing that always comes through every single week. Sunday morning, we get a little bit more Superman.
This is the dating episode one, the dating game Superman dating game.
Man, Silver St. Cloud.
Woo! Silver St. Cloud. I'm going to just say this. I don't care if it sounds weird for an animated character. Silver St. Cloud can get it.
She can. I was going to say, like,
Thick
I
as
realize
hell.
it's an animated cartoon, but damn.
No, I'm like, when she was laying out how, like, when Lois was laying out, like, oh, come on, she's so much better than me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm also, I hear all this stuff. Yeah, I can't remember why Lois. Then they're together for a minute. I'm like, oh yeah, you're crazy cute.
White-haired Xena is just the shit. She looks so great. That was such a like realizing like, oh man, that's their Silver St. Cloud. Anyway, moving on. My Adventures with Superman, the actual episode. We get Metropolis's most eligible bachelor, and it's Superman's among the contestants. Yeah, and you just got to feel bad for the other schmucks on stage.
Well, yeah,
when
like,
he flies in. Sorry, I'm late.
Yeah, like fuck you.
But also,
it's for charity.
Earth is for Earthlings seems to be catching on because the dude stands up and walks off the stage.
Yeah, well, what's his name? That looks like Hal Jordan, but isn't. The fucking test pilot that Lois knew from back in the day. Right. That I honestly thought was going to be another love triangle thing they were going to do, but doesn't really end up happening.
No. So we got that going on.
And I don't know if it's intentional, but I do just want Superman to go like, but again, I was asked to be here.
Right.
Specifically. Like if I didn't show up, I was kind of going to look like an asshole.
Right. I can't win here.
Like,
and you really can't win because Cat Grant is absolutely sure that Silver St. Cloud is dating Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And
tells Lois in vivid detail why it's impossible for Lois to be the one he's into. Pretty mean to a point where I'm like, dude, do you know they're together and are being mean about it?
Destroy her, and then she goes and dumps Superman, basically.
Sort of like he's like, are we breaking up? But they get interrupted.
Yeah, but it definitely feels like Clark was about to.
Well, she's about to go take that job. They haven't had a lot of time together. They haven't talked.
Right, because she's been trying to tell him, hey, I got this job in Gotham. And he's been trying to tell her, hey, I activated a space beacon that might have brought an Earth-killing god here. My cousin, but still.
Hey, if you say it like that.
And lo and behold, who shows up?
So I was right.
You were so right.
Fucking right.
The Neil was a misdirect.
So like we're kneeling before Kara.
Yes.
So I'm not saying that they won't bring Zod in at some point or a different version of it. But
Primus is Brainiac, or will be.
Oh sure.
Brainiac. Kara's the one in the suit with the cape.
Yeah, the suit is also super cool.
Right.
But Kara shows up, and I love that immediately. The design, I was like, shit, that's Kara, and she just shows up.
Right, she steps out of an alley, and you just know.
And she has her symbol on, like her House of
She got a little House of L like brooch kind of going. And I mean, she's got instead of the 3-dot Brainiac suit, she's got House of L like Superman emblem on her chest when she armors up.
She's hanging out with Jimmy. Jimmy and her have a cute little.
Jimmy blows like $1,000 on food.
Yeah, like how expensive cart food?
I don't know, man. She
Metropolis.
Eats everything in that city.
She
tries it all.
Well, you're an alien.
That's a whole fun. That's just. I mean, like it's just a whole fun, goofy day. Like both plots are so cute in this episode.
Oh my god, you're an alien, Jimmy. She ate like 20,000 calories in like 2 sittings.
Right, like you, man. So yeah, if Jimmy'd been like into Clark, he would never have noticed.
Never would have gotten it.
No, because I kept thinking like this is the same dude that was like Clark. You tore our doorknob off.
Nothing.
On day one.
Nothing clicking here, Jimmy.
Right. Like you're a reporter, man.
Now when she kicks the fucking soccer ball into the stratosphere.
Right. I mean, I've loved every episode this season, but god damn it, the show is fucking adorable. I love it every week. It is the best thing I'm looking forward to.
I was gonna say this one was actually had the Lois being down on herself thing felt like it ran a little long for me. And I was like,
also they've been keeping a secret, which is irritating. Like I don't like that as a plot device.
Well, they've been trying to. It's not so much that they're keeping the secret; they just can't find the time to talk to each other. And I'm like,
which is
about a little bit better, but about the same,
like a half step better. Yeah.
But yeah, the I love that the fight really goes Kara's way, not only because she probably just had her powers longer, but the suit amps up her powers.
Right, she can have like pieces of the suit come together and make like a focal point that she can fire through.
what we saw at on Z-Day or whatever the fuck they call it,
zero day or whatever. Yeah.
The whoever was wearing the suit then, what had and it shot through the face in a different way of focal point, and hers is new and seems to even finer point.
Right.
And I'm like, oh shit, Kryptonian technology has been
also
progressing.
Advanced. Yes.
So you guys have, you guys have gotten to the point where you are maybe even just slightly ahead of the technology that you found 20 years ago.
Right.
And Krypton is going to be like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, you got a musket and they've got an AR.
Yeah. Like that's also like the fact that like Kara has no chill as far as you called me here, and she's like, and to Clark, it's like, yeah, I have no idea who you are. Like, how is that supposed to? I get you know who I am because I'm wearing the goddamn symbol or whatever.
Right.
How are you expecting me to know who you are off of sight? Like, she doesn't get that at all. And me like, okay, so he ignored me for 1 second, and that means I got to rip this entire fucking city apart. But we see the freeze breath for the first time. It's pretty cool.
Yes, that was the end of the huge end of the episode of him screaming no, and it making a little ball of blue light, and then we see the ice crawl back on his face.
Yeah,
and that's how we know it's freeze breath.
Countering the heat vision.
Yes,
that she's shooting out.
Super cool. Again, taking the change they made in the powers and extrapolating it to this new power, but also it's a classic power. Yeah,
and
fucking love everything.
It seems like Kara's been raised by Primus, calls him dad.
Yes, yeah. So she's gonna need to be like Jimmy's gonna need to take her on a lot more. Let's have fun in Metropolis excursions.
Well, I mean, they better get on that because she's taking him away at the end of the episode to go.
Oh yeah, she puts him
somewhere.
in like a fucking super coffin.
Yeah,
and just because Primus wants him taken back to whatever remains of Krypton. I assume.
So I guess she's taking him back to her ship, or no, she didn't come down on a ship. She was in the suit.
She was in the suit. So did she come here from?
Oh, maybe she's going to the Fortress of Solitude, because that's the crash ship.
Maybe she's trying to like. It sounded like Brainiac or Primus wanted her to bring him back to wherever he is.
Yeah.
But is that like in the floating asteroid belt remains of Krypton?
I know they showed that. I want to rewatch that finale of the first season because they showed him like on the what it seemed like an apocalyptic wasteland of a planet, like he was conquering or something. And I don't know. It's again, the mystery of the show is still holding strong. I thought it was kind of early to do Supergirl, but it's pretty cool to weave her into the
right. No, I see what you're saying. Yeah. No, she deepens the overall show.
Well, if she's going to be Zod as well, or our version of Zod, then bring her in for the second season because that's the invasion would have Zod or whatever.
Right. And so, if they're going to, man, I kind of like blending them. Looking forward to it every week. I think it's a freaking great show. Can't wait till this Sunday. Well, now feels like a good time to mention that if you haven't joined us over at patreon.com/TV Dudes, go over there, check out the episodes. You can throw down $1 an episode and get bonus content each week.
What? For $1 a week, you get double the pod?
Yes. Or for $5 an episode, you can send us a review of a show that you're watching and we will read it on the pod.
For $20, we become a showrunner and choose the series we watch. Like last week, Delicious in Dungeons.
Yeah, that was a great choice. That's so you can pick the show topic at that level for an episode. Next week, Jean Paul Vital has chosen The Baxters as our show, and so we're gonna check out 4 episodes he selected for that.
The fuck is The Baxters?
We'll find out.
Okay.
So tune in. That's the main pod episode of the week at the showrunner level. So that's not a bonus one. That's you take over the show.
But for a bonus episode on Patreon this week, we're chatting about the new Pixar movie Inside Out 2. Inside Outer.
Yes.
Out of the inside.
Yeah. Outside Boogaloo.
They did not accept my pitches for alternate titles. Did it make us openly weep in the theater like the first one? Tune in and find out. I mean, they can't play the Bing Bong card again.
Yeah, that's true.
So I doubt that we will weep so far. But then again, Pixar does know our way to our hearts, and that is through our fathers.
Right. Right.
Pixar, if someone at Pixar was just like, look, just put a daddy issue in there and everyone will fucking cry. Like,
it can't be that easy. It is.
But it is, though.
Well, I can't think of a better segue than that. Speaking of daddy issues, Amazon Prime dropped The Boys Season 4.
I look back at my life, and all I see are the messes I made. And I ain't got time to fix it. I can do one thing right with the time I got left. I can't do it alone. I can't do it without you. If you thought things had changed.
This country is corrupt beyond repair, so we gotta save it.
Friend, you better think again.
It's not gonna be easy. We'll have to do some terrible things.
For the greater good.
You'll no longer be beloved celebrities.
But the good in the fewest of ways.
You will be wrathful gods. Show me a little wrath.
That doesn't sound good, Ashley.
Oh, yeah, no shit, Ashley.
Sorry, Ashley.
The whole world is about to burn.
We need someone like you, Billy, before the soups start rounding us up and dumping us off in camps.
I have found the answer to all our prayers. A virus that kills soups.
This is insane and desperate, even for you.
Well, insanely desperate's where we are, don't you think, love?
Let's go. Chop chop, motherfuckers.
We got 3 episodes, and then the 4th dropped today, actually, as of this recording. And wow, is that a show full of super powered dad issues?
Man, so we've said this every time, like either one of these shows has had a new season, but like how does Invincible had all the goodwill and story to burn, and The Boys is the one that has a great not only just storytelling and writing going on, but just commentary on
while also being
on the pulse
being
issues.
as hyper violent and fucking insane as you could possibly
people still
want.
blow up real good.
Oh, it every single season they opens with a like Jesus H Christ moment.
Dude, it kind of reminds me of we were doing our Planet of the Apes marathon of like, man, it's just sci-fi, like heady, like here's our metaphor of what we think about society and how it's reflected in superheroes or apes. But also, you wanted to see like apes riding horses, shooting machine guns, right?
Right, we got you. I got you.
Okay, we're gonna do that too.
Yeah, I got you. I don't understand how this apparently has a fucking terrible rating right now. This new season on.
It's about time. Well, it's kind of like a Ted Lasso season 3. How everyone turned on it. There's a thing in the popular culture of like
just a backlash.
When is the thing that we're all loving? When is it not good anymore?
Backlash joining the 7 this fall.
It's kind of like how in political writers, they're always waiting for if someone's doing bad in the polls, they're just waiting for the comeback.
Right.
They're looking
we
for
love a comeback story. Yeah,
we love a comeback story, and same for like if someone's doing good, like, oh well, then like we're waiting for the article like but is it actually bad now?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely that's the thing I really hate about like social media reporting is frequently like BuzzFeed type stuff where you'll see the hey, thing you loved last week, but is it bad?
I guarantee you, if Invincible makes it to season 4,
thing you thought was bad, but you never watched,
either season 3 or 4 of Invincible, there will be a market of people of like, hey, is it not good anymore? And I'll be the one that it was never good, you fucking morons. Like that, you're just now noticing it for some reason. And I want to say that for The Boys, of people are just now noticing the unbelievably unsubtle political commentary,
like fantastically unsubtle.
Like, and I think we had the same conversation in season 2.
The name. At what point did even calling him Homelander sound good to you?
Dude, he's
like, that's not.
Well, he has a Nazi girlfriend in season 2. Like, where it's just not.
Like you can say that like, well, maybe he didn't know she was a Nazi earlier. Nope, he stands there next to his son when she says, yes, it's called white genocide. And like, I shouldn't have said that out loud on a pod. Don't take that clip out of context. It's not me saying
that. The AI's got it now.
So yeah, like that show has never been subtle. Subtle's not what it's. When I say it's got deep, well-rounded characters, I'm not saying it's subtle.
No, I mean they still do the well, so much for the tolerant left in this latest episode of The Boys, where they trick Starlight into beating someone's ass on national TV.
That woman needed her like,
and because
Firecracker needed her ass beat.
And if it was Firecracker beating someone else, it would be seen as strong. Absolutely. As defending myself.
Well, but
because it's the left winger, like, they're supposed to be, and they're right. We will circular firing squad each other about it.
I mean, immediately, Singer is like, I can't be associated with you anymore at all.
Yeah.
And like, where we just watched Firecracker walk out on stage and go, yeah, I was 23 and hooked up with a 15-year-old.
Yeah, because there's just not for the right, and I think that's the reason that it's now split down the middle is because they're fully admitting now. Like the thing now is that the people on the right, they don't have the same consequences as people on the left. Like
and like again, show's not subtle.
You might want to say like you're like even if you are described to the concept that each one is just as bad, which is a fucking stupid think 17-year-olds think they're smart when they have that political opinion that both sides are bad and just not involved in politics. But even if you do think that, you have to acknowledge that the consequences for either side are not the same.
Right.
Because Starlight gets basically fucking canceled. The thing that all the soups are talking about in the previous seasons that never actually happens to them. And
because Vought.
Yeah, because Vought protects it. Like, and the only thing, Starlight doesn't have a international corporation fucking protecting her now.
No. No, now she's just political, and that will get you dropped.
Yeah, and that'll get because that's what happens when a person.
Yeah, because you just lost Singer votes.
Yeah, honestly, if she had been she was afraid of when she didn't want to be Starlight,
right?
I would have gotten that, but just not using Starlight because a lot of the season has been, Annie has to learn to use her popularity and stardom as Starlight to affect change and move forward. Like Kimiko is working through her stuff with Shining Light. Is that the name of the terrorist group?
Yeah.
She's having to work through.
And she and Huey get their first adventure together.
Yeah. Well, also I forgot that she was fully involved in Shining Light. They kidnapped her, but she was involved for quite a while, and she did the same thing to other people.
Right.
Like we like our people that we're with, but they've
got bad past. I mean, it's the same time that they were watching Frenchie deal with the fact that he killed his boyfriend's whole family.
This season, what I really like about this season going for so far is the fact that it really is showing that people are very complicated in the fact that no person you want to take a person at who they are right now as who they've always been, and that people don't change. But people change all the time, frequently and radically. Like Kimiko was not always this. In fact, she's mostly not been this. Like she's been this for like a couple years, maybe.
Right.
But otherwise, she's been a fucking terrorist, kidnapped terrorist. But
I think a lot of times people want to think that people changing means people are now incapable of certain feelings or behaviors.
Yeah.
And like you don't want to think that like at some point Kimiko, who you like, was capable of doing something truly cruel or truly horrible or whatever, but like people contain fucking multitudes.
Starlight, like I do like that Firecracker has a legit.
Starlight
beef.
Sounds terrible when she was.
Because she fucked her over and spread a rumor about her blowing a judge.
That ruined her.
Like it was a seriously mean girl level of like.
Yeah, and it truly followed her around and wrecked her. Like,
and I'm not getting like I get that, I really do, and that sucks. And Starlight does feel bad about it, and probably should.
Like,
but then again,
she feels ashamed enough of it that she can't even admit it to Butcher.
Yeah. No, she feels really, and I'm like, yeah, but then are we holding everyone to a standard of what they were when they were 15?
When she was also being pushed in, like have we not learned at this point that there's a sympathetic case to be made for everybody? And that's the other thing that this fourth episode does.
Just about to say, yes, with A-Train.
Well, I was going to say with Homelander.
Oh, also yes,
but so this episode also sees the fourth episode, I should say. Dropping 3 back was fucking rad. I love this show. The fourth episode takes it even further, and we get Huey's actual forgiveness of A-Train. I love when Butcher watches the whole exchange from the shadows, and he steps out at the end, and when he says, "How could you?" At first I was like, what does he mean? Take more? Oh God, he just means forgive A-Train.
No, he just means, no, for Butcher, it's like, no, fuck you, never forgive, never forget.
Right.
Fucking take it to the end and like burn everybody down before you forget.
No, it's Rorschach thinking.
And Huey is his brother, like really trying to like impart. I really want Butcher to learn from Huey at the end of this, that Huey's way is right.
Right.
Like Huey's forgiveness angle is like, as much as Butcher has tried to drag him down through the series, Huey's the one that has affected most change in the superhero community. Why? Because he affected A-Train.
Right.
And I feel like A-Train is going to be the linchpin.
Absolutely. I think you're right.
Of why.
We were talking about like the spikeness of it and like realizing that you know, like there's an argument to be made that Buffy is the arc of Spike, and that like sometimes shows are this other character running through.
Rewatching it, like I just
might
did,
partly be A-Train's story.
A-Train, because
A-Train and Huey.
Watching A-Train throughout the seasons slowly, because he has to get mad about injustice to himself first.
Right. And the first time he gets mad about injustice, he just puts on a stupid suit and it's entirely fucking superficial, and his brother calls him on it.
Yeah, and then his brother gets hurt and he kills Blue Hawk but his brother's like, I didn't want you to do that. He's still he has to slowly grow over, and I like the opposite. We've seen how people are slowly corrupted into the Seven and how they are corrupted by power slowly over time. I like seeing it the other way. Someone slowly corrupted is a weird word, but corrupted by empathy.
Right.
Like suddenly when you start to feel bad for people, you suddenly can't stop.
Right.
And now suddenly you're on the path to caring about another person and then caring about another person.
And this is not, that's the journey A-Train's on. That's not the journey that Homelander's on. But this episode did something really shouldn't be that remarkable. It's a pretty simple story that's right there. But this episode takes pains to point out the fucking horrible things that had to have happened to Homelander in his childhood, while also showing him deal with them now in a still villainous, not great way.
Well, I love that even Homelander.
So like we're watching A-Train deal with these feelings, but in a positive manner. We're watching Homelander deal with these feelings, but he's alone. There's no one helping him.
Well,
no one can help him.
Well, he takes the idea of A-Train tries to see if he can't make things better. Maybe there's a way he can try and feel better about himself.
Right.
And I love that moment at the end where he's like, "You're not going to forgive me, are you?" But he still did it. Like at that point, he wasn't doing it for Huey.
Mm-hmm.
He just did it because he at least thought it might make himself feel better, and whether or not it did, we'll have to see. But Huey ends up forgiving him, and like that beef is squashed. And I think that A-Train is for the first time rewarded for a good behavior.
Right, fully rewarded.
Fully rewarded. No,
like, hey man, no, we're good.
No secondary like consequence or whatever. Like just fully like, hey, I did this thing for you, and you forgave me for a thing that
is honestly
unforgivable. So
and Huey's explanation is correct. That's forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is about you putting down this burden.
Yeah, and
for you.
Yeah, and honestly, you have to learn to like it, because A-Train. This is what you wanted. You wanted A-Train to be the type of person that would care and not cause collateral damage like that. But in order to do that, you got to give him the courtesy of being an actual person.
Mm-hmm.
And Homelander, he didn't start out Homelander. Like
no,
he was John.
He was John till he was 16.
Man, he keeps correcting him, and I'm like, Marty, whatever his name is, I'm like, dude, you got to start getting this right.
Right.
I mean, you're probably not. You're not leaving this place
also,
alive.
somewhere deep down, you're hoping that you can talk to John, because John might not kill you. Homelander,
right? But Homelander is not gonna.
But also the realization. I mean, like he kills everybody in that room, and that sucks because he says some of these are new faces, and he's just killing them because they're also working there. But Marty and the other dude, Frank. Like, I'm not saying they deserve to go out like that, but like...
But it's interesting to see Homelander in a scenario where he's doing horrible things to people that actually deserve it. And what he says in there is all right. He's like, hey, all these people were just afraid and they were following, like, they were just doing what I told them. And Homelander was like, yeah. And they could have at any time said, no, this is wrong.
This is wrong. Yeah.
And they didn't.
Yeah.
So they fucking sign. I like that, not letting them off the hook.
No, and then her even darker explanation of, well, why didn't you just leave?
Yeah, man,
and
really.
And then saying like, no, the greatest thing we ever did here was the psychological barrage that we put you through that made you the kind of person that needs love so fucking bad that you didn't just leave.
It's an abuser bragging about their
about
abuse,
about weaponized abuse.
Yeah, about their weaponized need for approval. And Homelander at that point just goes, "Oh, I don't need it now." And I'm deeply afraid of that statement because everything from before he's been arguing with himself because at some point he still wants to feel loved.
Right.
And that's what's been holding him back.
No, if that truly dies
if
in
that's
him,
truly gone, we are in some serious shit.
Yeah. So he kills all of those scientists and then locks her in the bad room.
I want you to know why I call this the bad room.
Yeah.
All that was really good of like the man, him doing that to throwing like, hey, want to play a game with the dunking the paper into the trash can? He's like, hey, you remember when we used to play this?
You taught me this game.
Taught me this game. I don't remember that. Oh, that's right. You wouldn't have, because I was in that oven over there. And I saw you dunk this.
Like there were people standing there watching, taking notes, watching me burn, trying to see if my skin would burn. But behind them was you.
And you sunk it.
It was a great shot.
It was a great shot. You sunk it. And then you turned up the...
Did a little... and then you turned the oven up.
You did a little... Yeah, that was like... And Homelander remembers it so vividly. And I love that Homelander is like... It's funny how two people can remember the same event so differently because you don't even remember that moment and it's burned into my...
I dream about it.
It's like... It's a seminal moment for me.
And then the even sadder... Like the other...
Hey, go take that shot in the while I take the shot, go in the oven.
Yeah.
Like,
and that got burnt quick. That's really it was fucking brutal.
Well, if it's made to burn soups, like
yeah. And then he pulls Marty over, and I thought he was just going to crush Marty into the concrete wall or something, but it's so much worse because
you were mostly good to me.
Okay, so Marty babysat Homelander in the room where he's observed for days at a time. I'm not sure what just to see if he'd crack or what. I don't know. It had to be part of the psychological need for love thing because they were definitely breaking this kid.
Well, and they explain like, and I was a young boy and I had certain needs.
Yeah, so he figured out that Marty took a 2-minute rounds like break or something or making the rounds or something, and that's it. That was his one time I had to take care of the need.
Yeah,
and
because he had a sense of shame.
Right?
It was never felt that bad for Homelander before, but like.
Realizing you're spending days at a time as a teenage boy with a camera in the room that's observing you all the time. Like that's just horrific. Makes me want to break out in hives right now.
Both moments, like the dunking moment is he recognized that I wasn't even, it's not that I wasn't a person to you. I was not anything to you. You could sink that shot and turn up the oven like nothing was in the oven.
Right.
Like sinking that, not even just sinking the shot, but going, yeah, and just going on with your fucking day. Like
I'm
what you
doing,
like what you doing wasn't horrific.
Yeah. So like him saying like, no, I'm not human and my son's not human. Well, y'all didn't treat us human.
Because it's like he doesn't single out anybody else, but like for like, I'm sure other people were doing their jobs there, but not all of them like
nicknamed him Squirt
or did shit that like was like, yeah, but you didn't have to like enjoy your job.
Yeah. So the guy that nicknamed him Squirt, he lasers that dude's dick off and then crushes his head. The woman that spontaneously pukes behind him was great. Good job, props. Man,
if you don't get hard in the next 3 seconds, I'm gonna fucking laser dick off.
That's the closest to feeling bad for him. And he's still, because of how they're playing the scene, he's still a psychopath torturer through the whole thing. And you have people standing behind him that you just feel bad for because they didn't do these things to him directly.
Well, it's the Uber Nazi, but he's torturing Goebbels and Hitler. Right. Like it's something like,
and like the rest of these people are just like regular Nazis.
And guess what? While he's in this room torturing these people, he's not out in the world killing everybody else.
Right.
So like, as an objective observer, I'm like, hey, better those people than fucking like.
What a brutal fucking ending of him just blood covered going up the elevator and
laser her in
and her sealed in that room with all the corpses.
Well, honestly, I'm surprised he hadn't done this beforehand. Like the minute Edgar was gone,
right?
Like, because I was assuming that was the only person protecting them, because they obviously it's the same location, same place,
right?
Never moved.
But I think it's that him letting go of that need for approval, and that's not going to be good.
Maybe in his mind there was a part of him that was afraid to go back there because he was afraid he would revert.
Yeah, no, we have not seen Soldier Boy yet this season, or is Soldier Boy dead?
No, Soldier Boy is not dead. He got
gassed again.
The gas
like,
again.
They need to go find him again or something. Because man,
there's a problem. We gotta.
If nothing else, Homelander needs a sense of mortality that A-Train has.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't.
Well, a sense of mortality too, because we haven't talked about him finding gray hairs.
Yeah, mortality.
Yeah, morality is what he's absent of. But mortality.
A-Train's had like a near-death experience of
almost. Oh shit, we haven't talked about Sage yet.
Oh yes.
So Homelander,
we were dead right about the lobotomy bit too.
Yes,
that's exactly what she's doing. Her brain grows back.
You want to watch Transformers 2? It's got super
with
racist
the racist robots. Yeah.
So, and I know I shouldn't say this on the podcast, but like I just can't bring myself to hate the Deep anymore. He's so sad. He's just so sad. Like,
yeah, he just needs to be stopped and not be around people.
I want him dead, but in a way that like I need him to be put out of both of our miseries. Like it's a bummer watching you. Like
you really should have taken the octopuses out and just moved to the sea.
God, yeah, they love him there. They fucking respect him, love him. So Sister Sage, or Sage as she likes to be called, is the smartest person alive. She corrects everyone that calls her the smartest woman.
Yeah, smartest person on the planet.
The Homelander is sick of having yes men around him, which is ironic because considering he killed
everybody else,
killed all the non-yes people.
Right.
So he thinks he wants someone that'll challenge him or let him run the company in a way that but even he with her is like, oh, I'm pretty smart myself, and he says a pretty smart thing to say. I'm smart enough to listen. When's the next time you're going to have anyone that actually listens to you? I'm offering you the chance to put into practice your theories with Vought's backing. When else are you going to get that shot?
What does she say when Annie whoops Firecracker's ass?
How's that for uppity?
Well, she says that about Firecracker, but she also says first pebble down the mountain. This is the avalanche.
Yeah. Sister Sage, like honestly, I'm glad that Homelander's going to kill her at some point because she's truly
dangerous.
She's truly dangerous and evil. And for the smartest woman alive, like she even acknowledges that Homelander, like, well, your ego will not handle you with me. And as much as Homelander says, no, and then
she's
like
right.
But she's right though. Like
because I'm
Homelander immediately like
she has a plan to deal with that, but I'm also interested to see if she has a plan to deal with that.
Well, the thing with Ryan of like the chosen one narrative, like she's right. Like it only works if there's a one person. Like he's never gonna get out of your shadow if you have like.
No, he wasn't supposed to be there at the thing. So I'm wondering if we're gonna find out later that she was banking on Homelander showing up. That specifically said no, he can't. Like, I want to see how much they're gonna retcon of like most of this is planned. Like she expected this to go wrong or expected Ryan to kill the dude. Or,
well, I mean it's. Again, because Homelander says he wants one thing, but doesn't actually want what you're gonna just blow yourself? You're just gonna blow A-Train because I told you to in this room? Like, yeah, man, because you've given a lot of the same scenarios and lasered people's heads off for not doing it.
Right, we will die.
You've trained these people to be that way, and now you're mad that they're doing what you've trained them to do. And when Sage corrects them on the Ryan thing and is right. He's mad about that too. Like what he wanted was the smartest woman alive to tell him he was also super smart. And he wanted to say he was the smartest man alive or whatever. And everything he was doing was right.
Right.
Like he wanted someone that didn't, well,
he won't trust a human.
No, absolutely
so he wants
not.
it to be a soup, but at the same time, yeah, this isn't going to work out long term.
No.
So the last two things we just can't get out without mentioning so far. Every season starts with something truly fucked up. This season is Chuck from Supernatural as Splinter, or their Madrox the Multiple Man.
Yeah,
and I'm gathering that he can maybe get all this, like the Prime feels the sensation of all of them.
I think
I'm gonna assume because they had a hell of a daisy chain going in a sauna, which kids don't eat ass in a sweat room.
So man, you want pink eye? That's how you get pink eye.
That's how you get pink eye. So what that? Oh god damn it, that was hilarious. But then also he rips his clothes whenever he merges, so like all his dupes are naked. There's a lot of naked Splinter
like
fighting
all
around there.
in the boys universe, no suits work with the powers.
No, very very rarely.
So like everyone ends up naked when
they tease the idea that Golden Boy would have had a suit that wouldn't burn.
Sure.
But he never makes it that far, so we don't actually see if that shit ever works. I bet that thing is hot as fuck.
So like, and he splinters off and he gets killed. I love that later she's like, "You're the ones that killed my friend." Butcher does a great like he just leans back like, yeah, but that's the whole thing.
He's up in heaven eating the holiest of holies now.
You speak American.
That's right,
dude.
Man, Firecracker. I saw a meme going around that it was a bunch of pictures of Firecracker that said, "But I can fix her." It's like,
I like that you were when she said, what was it? It's just math. Like you were.
I was like, oh god.
Oh no.
No.
Les is like Les had a whole like why this is like, something that's wrong with me that I find this attractive.
She needs to shut her stupid fucking face, but ginger racist.
Hoodie. And Butcher, man, Carl Urban with his like little head tilts and was like, man, you think I'm not gonna let you leave my site with 50 grand? Like, all right, but you'll hate it.
Yep. Because they'd say they go do something gross to get the bit of info on Firecracker.
Oh my god, I'm never gonna unsee that.
And Mother goes through that for nothing.
Nope. Well, I told you, didn't I?
But at least they didn't go through. Apparently, it wasn't Carl Urban in the photo, but the last moment that we've absolutely got to talk about. Carl Urban sending or Butcher sending that photo on the phone of his.
Well, he's about to make a deal to get Ryan back and fuck over Huey basically in them, and chooses not to because of
which is great.
Which is great. It's showing growth with Butcher, and also he's talking to his fucking dead wife, like, which is definitely man. When he first is in an empty room and he just goes, "Well, that's a fine thing to bring up now," and I'm like, "Oh crap."
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Butcher's unstable now. Also, his parasite thing going on is.
Well, so apparently from what Amazon put something out there that no, that's not Carl Urban's asshole in that photo. That is somebody hired for that photo.
Sure.
But separately, the actress was not shown that photo prior, so her reaction of "Oh Jesus" is absolutely
you can see
real.
She's giggling.
Right.
She's holding a hand behind her face.
Like
she's
absolutely real.
Laughing.
And then I don't know if I realized that what Butcher took to try to like the last time he took
I don't think they've shown us that before.
Yeah. He took blue V, real compound V, not temp 24-hour V.
Well, he's telling Huey because of Huey's
dad
about to lose his dad, and Butcher is like from experience telling him like, dude, like what, like come on, it's my dad. What else am I supposed to do? And Butcher goes, anything fucking else.
Right, anything else, you twat.
Like fucking any, like I don't care what you're.
Well, and he asked Butcher like, so did it? Well, Butcher said I already tried it. I nicked some from Frenchie's drawer, and I already tried it. And it just made it go. It just moved up the timeline, and like I'm gonna lay it out now. I don't think Butcher's got cancer anymore. Not the same way.
I think his tumor is alive.
I think his tumor is a worm in him now.
And I'm not sure if it's giving him powers again, but taking him over, or if it jumped out of his body and back in.
I don't know, man.
But he killed the fuck out of.
He's got some kind of
stretchy guy,
dark passenger that Dexter style killed the shit out of that dude. After that dude almost whooped Frenchie. Man, the show is fucking awesome.
Well, also speaking of people that have like, we love Frenchie, but Frenchie was an assassin before.
Right, Frenchie's also terrible. Kamiko's terrible.
But Frenchie is fucking the dude that like he killed his entire family. Like
Huey's the only one who didn't have a fucking dark past.
Right. And despite the boys' best efforts of trying to drag him down.
Right. Oh man, you could see the change on Huey's face when he had to just cut that dude's throat. In that fight. Yeah.
Well, I liked that Kimiko really cares about the team now, not just Frenchie.
No, and she loves Huey. She gives Starlight a big hug.
Well, I mean, she's the first one that figures out what he's doing for the dad, and I love that she texts like, "What was I supposed to do?" And it's like, "I know this is fucked up, but I think you have to let him die."
Yeah, and Huey decides not to use it.
Dude, I was blown away because the dad obviously gave power of attorney to his wife because he thought she would kill him. Like honor his wishes, didn't think Huey would do it. And I'm like, that must have been why. The only reason I could fathom he would do that.
Absolutely.
Like, he's not seen that woman in 2 decades.
No, and she walked out on them.
Yeah, like there's like, it has to be the only reason to do it. So, and then, man, he pockets a thing. He makes the right call on it. It was genuinely shocked.
He just leaves it in his, as soon as he left it in his coat, I was like,
why, because Huey's the one that makes the right decision. Everyone else makes the wrong one. Huey's the one that makes the right decision.
We get to see the bit of blue go through the tube, but I don't think he does it first.
No, she was like, oh, it's what he wants. Like, she was intimating that she was gonna kill him. But now somehow she has V because of her connections with Vought, because she has that. I just thought she was selling like Mary Kay
essential oils,
bullshit. But I think she has an affiliate with.
No, he left it in his coat pocket and left his coat in the room.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought she got it from someone else.
But I think she just knew what it was when she saw it.
Oh, wow. But her doing it is like, what?
Yeah. And now it's so the end scene of the 4th episode, I guess, is
honestly, and
is that the last scene? Is his dad's eyes opening?
Yeah, it would have been
super Simon.
I would have gotten it if Huey had done it. It would have been the wrong thing to do, but Huey's about
his mom doing is psychotic and
reckless. So you're gonna, and I honestly understood why you left. I did your speech, your postpartum depression. I got it, but you're gonna leave this man for most of your son's life, and then the minute you come back into his life, you're gonna do the one thing his power of attorney asked you not to do.
Right.
Wow. Fuck you.
She's terrible.
Wow. Like, honestly, I don't care if he wakes up with
it's gonna go it's gonna go badly. But I cannot wait to see what power he wakes up with.
I don't care if he wakes up with the best power in the world. I would be mad. I would be like, no, you didn't know that this was like, honestly, this could have made everything so much worse. I wanted the plug pulled, and you did the fuck you. But also, Tim or Tom or whatever his name is, that was dating MM's wife or whatever, ex-wife, is dead. Todd,
yeah,
because of the.
Well, he was one of the fake, like, that had A-Train and then beat him to death.
Also, and so that and that's where we first learned that Black Noir is not.
It's not Black Noir.
When he first showed up, we were both so confused. I was like, wait, what the fuck? And I'm like, no, I get that a lot of these soups are very hard to kill and are indestructible, but he was really dead. Like, and Homelander was mad at him, so you have to believe that Homelander just let him heal up or whatever. And then suddenly he talks later. I was like, oh my god. So can we talk?
No.
He's been cracking me up so much throughout the thing of like, no man, so Black Noir, I've been in this place. He has like a dojo, but as far as I can tell, he does not know karate. Who is this guy that I'm playing, man? Like, what is his deal? Training A-Train, bring in Will Ferrell as the trainer is pretty great.
I think it might be the same actor, and they're just letting him talk and be weird this season.
Is it? That's great. That might be real. That's really funny that they have the same actor that was underneath the. But he just. It would explain why. It would explain why it looks
he's
just
Black Noir, and he's Black Noir too.
Awesome. That explains why he looks exactly the same. Like, because that's that's a tight outfit.
Right. No, it's perfect.
A different body type would look like any different body type would look. Holy shit, guys. That was so fucked up.
So is Homelander going to have us kill people
like a lot? Hey, can we talk for a second? No.
Man, it's your whole thing. You don't. I just don't feel like I'm getting a lot of direction with this role.
Like, just really know what I'm supposed to be doing.
Dude, it turns him into this goofy vigilante thing from Peacemaker. Like, it's great. Yeah, man, I'm loving The Boys. You're definitely going to hear about this every week on our Diaries, guys.
It's going to be a fun mishmash of My Adventures with Superman and The Boys.
Each season. Superheroes are the best. Earths should trust them. Earth's not just for Earthlings. Fuck soups.
Dude, honestly, watching The Boys every time, I'm like, maybe why do I hate Trask and the Sentinels and X-Men again? Like,
right. Because you guys should be right.
I start to feel like I get what they're coming from. Of like, man, maybe we should wipe them all out. Like, I get that we're gonna get a couple of good ones or whatever, but on the whole, I think this is better if we don't have super people, right?
The Boys each week on Amazon Prime. Thursdays at about.
Do you think they'll bring in the Gen V people?
Morning. I kind of hope it all crashes together. I really do.
Me too. I was wondering if they're going to bring him in or not, but they got to at least deal with the virus, right?
They have a little bit, like the Godolkin 4 are in the background of one of the episodes, not in the background, but like mentioned in the background of one of the episodes.
Yeah.
So all of that is happening.
They're off in some black site facility or something.
They disappeared into a bottomless black hole.
They at least have to deal with the virus,
right?
At some point, I think.
Yeah. No. That's got to be incoming. And we've got Jeffrey Dean Morgan's guy out there too. Oh man, there's so much going on this season. I can't wait for all
casting rules in The Boys overall. Like,
absolutely.
Hey, we need someone more shifty and seedier than Carl Urban. I have Jeffrey Dean Morgan on speed dial.
Well played. Well, I think that about wraps it up for us for now. Tune in next week. We're going to talk about John Paul Vital's showrunner choice, The Baxters.
And don't forget to head over to patreon.com/TVDudes to hear what we thought of Inside Out 2.
And until next time,
TV Dudes out.